Two Rivers Talks is brought to you by Two Rivers Biz Starts. Also by Two Rivers Main Street. And by Rawley Point Economic Advising. And by viewers like you. Thank you.
Welcome everybody to Two Rivers Talks with Darla and Todd. I'm Todd.
I'm Darla.
And we're really glad you're here to join us. Thank you so much for supporting our Two Rivers Talks talk show. And the purpose for our show, and we're proud to say we've been doing this for a little while now,
Right.
is it's for promoting the arts and happenings and business, all the good things that are happening in the city of Two Rivers. It's for you as a resident if you live here, if you come through and visit, if you're a part-year resident, or if you're thinking about investing or you used to live here and you'd like to come back. That's my long-winded introduction for the show. But we've got a great show planned for today.
Yes.
A couple of great guests. We have Mr. Jeff Sachse of Rawley Point Economic Advising. He's going to be giving a little recap of Light Up The Lakeshore business idea competition. That was an event for high school students that was held on May 14th at the UWGB Manitowoc campus. And Jeff's also going to bring us up to speed on a little something called Snowfest.
Yes.
Blast from the past, but something he's bringing back with the help of many other interested people in town here, and we're excited to hear more about that.
Absolutely. And also we're pleased to bring you a video tribute to the 20 finalists of this year's first Two Rivers Main Street Art in Central Park competition. And the banners are up, and so stop by Central Park in beautiful downtown Two Rivers and get out of your car, walk around our beautiful park, and take a look at the banners that are up because they turned out really nice.
Really sharp.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And then we're also going to be having a visit from our friend Mr. Roger Russo about the upcoming Cool City Classic Car Show as part of our Main Street Minutes segment.
That's right. And so in the news, Manitowoc County Historical Society will be participating in Blue Star Museums. The Historical Society will join museums nationwide in participating in the 10th Summer of Blue Star Museums, a program which provides free admission to our nation's active duty military personnel and their families this summer.
That's awesome.
It really is. And the 2019 program was launched on May the 18th, which was Armed Forces Day, and will run through September 2nd, which is Labor Day. And just so that everyone knows, Blue Star Museums is an initiative of the National Endowment for the Arts in collaboration with Blue Star Families, the Department of Defense, and more than 2,000 museums nationwide.
Amazing. That's really great. Okay, so next up, several area students are receiving scholarships through the Y. The Manitowoc Two Rivers YMCA has announced the recipients of the 2019 Beardston Scholarship Award. Two of the recipients are Emma Burby and Madeline Polich from Two Rivers High School, who will be receiving $1,000 to go towards pursuing a higher degree in education or the social services. So congratulations to them, and congratulations to Jadalyn Novi from Mishicot High School as well. Great work, guys. Congratulations.
Yes. And this I thought was really exciting.
I saw this on Facebook. Yeah, this was really neat.
Cool. Two Rivers Susie Q Fish Company featured in NOAA Fish Fry in Washington, D.C. That's NOAA.
It's the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration.
Right.
With the Weather Service, really.
That's right.
Yeah.
And it's to highlight fish from the Great Lakes region. Wisconsin Sea Grant will serve smoked Lake Michigan whitefish from Susie Q Fish Company in Two Rivers at the 44th Annual NOAA Fish Fry on June 5th, or they did already on June 5th, sorry, in Washington, D.C. This is a little after the fact, but this is super cool. The event promoted public understanding of aquaculture and commercial fisheries. Each year, it attracts up to 1,100 people who pay for a ticket to to sample seafood near the National Mall at the Department of Commerce building, which is home to NOAA. Wisconsin Sea Grant has developed and is sharing an Eat Wisconsin Fish campaign to inform consumers, restaurateurs, and retailers about the local, healthy, and delicious fish that are harvested from the Great Lakes and the sustainable aquaculture operations across the state. This I did not know, but Wisconsin's aquaculture industry is worth $21 million annually.
Wow.
The U.S. portion of the Great Lakes Basin fishery is valued at $22.5 million.
That's a good-sized industry.
It is.
Yeah.
It's huge and vitally important. And we're very, very fortunate to have Susie Q
We are.
here in town
Here.
and still going strong.
They're an institution,
They
and,
are.
and they have this national visibility now.
They're getting recognized.
Yeah, it's just great.
I know.
And it connects with the history of Two Rivers as being part of the history of fisheries and
Right.
throughout the
Absolutely.
yeah. Right. So in some other news, L.B. Clark, science teacher, has been named Two Rivers Teacher of the Year. Laura Reeves was named this year's Teacher of the Year by the Neshota Charitable Foundation Selection Committee. Ms. Reeves has been a teacher in Two Rivers for 18 years and has served as a 6th grade teacher her entire career. Her commitment to our students, their families, and her colleagues is evidenced by her everyday actions. Reeves loves middle school science, and most of all, her 6th graders. Her room is filled with posters and pictures aimed at helping students think, feel, and act like a scientist. As a teacher, she's obviously exemplary. She searches out and implements the most effective practices for student learning. Laura Reeves, congratulations for being Teacher of the Year.
Right. And I could have gone on and on with the narrative for this, but go to the Doobly-Doo and click on the link to the article about Ms. Reeves, because a lot of what she has done with her students ties into NOAA.
Oh,
Yeah, so
this matches up.
Some
Yeah.
of the things that they're doing in that grade, I wasn't doing, at all. So she's really getting those kids out into the community. I know that they do beach cleanups and way more. So make sure that you follow the link and read about all of her accomplishments and all of everything that she's passing on to our children.
What's so wonderful about that is the ability of an educator to connect what's happening locally to what they're teaching in
Right.
the classroom, and so that seeing that connection to beach cleanup, seeing how the environment is impacted by things that you do,
Right.
where you live. I mean, that's huge. I never had much of that when I
No.
was in school. So,
No.
great opportunity. Why don't we turn to the city calendar? What's going on with the city these days?
Well, Two Rivers City Council, the next meeting will be on Monday, June the 17th at 6 p.m. As always, it's going to be in the council chambers on the 3rd floor of City Hall, and the agenda will be posted online. Additionally, Triad will be meeting Tuesday, June 19th at 9 a.m. at the TRPD.
Great. And if you're curious about what Triad is, I encourage you to check out our previous episode where we had
Episode 13.
episode 13, where we had an officer from the Two Rivers Police
Right.
Department come on, talked about that program as well as some of the other great stuff that they're doing. Maybe we'll put a little link up in that.
He hasn't figured it out yet.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. Anyways, check it out. It's well worth the watch. Turning to business news,
Okay.
Two Rivers Biz Starts is going to be having its next meeting on Wednesday, June the 26th at 6 p.m. We have some very special guests. We're going to be coming to the Leicester Public Library where we usually hold our events. Mr. Dennis Swetlick and Scott Stuckman of CLA Connect are going to be our guest speakers. They're both CPAs in the state of
Okay.
Wisconsin. They're going to be sharing tips about how to plan your financials for your small business or your business startup. So really good practical advice if you're a business owner or you're thinking of starting a business, you want to be there. They're both going to be covering internal financing versus external financing, debt versus equity, financial institution financing. So you're getting a loan from a bank, right?
Right.
Government and other source monies, information that you need for a loan application, or loan requirements that you get subsequent to an award. These guys are a wealth of knowledge. I work with Dennis on the TRBA board.
Okay.
Really smart, neat guy. He serves as our treasurer, of course, and looking forward to hearing from them. So
I am too,
Yeah.
because even though Basil's has been open now for a year, just shy of a year, I still struggled with some of these topics.
Yeah.
And where were you a year ago? I could have used this a year ago.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't think there's a single business in Two Rivers that couldn't benefit from
Right.
this. So
No,
Yeah.
that sounds really cool. I look forward to that. Leicester Public Library, which is near and dear to our hearts.
Hi, Jeff.
Hi, Jeff. For the adult events, foreign film, which I understand is their foreign film series is doing pretty well over there.
Oh, nice.
The foreign film that they are going to be showing on Tuesday, June 18th at 6 p.m. is called I Dream in Another Language. And the premise of the movie is a linguist arrives in a small jungle settlement hoping to record a conversation between two elderly men.
Okay.
The last two remaining speakers of the Zikril language.
Cool.
Unfortunately for him, the men are feuding
Uh-oh.
and haven't spoken to each other in 50 years. It's a Mexican drama. The running time is 103 minutes. No registration
See,
required.
that totally threw me when you said it was Mexican drama, because I was expecting the next line to say hijinks ensue.
Yeah.
But, you know.
But I really had a chuckle when I read that, because it was like, of course they haven't spoken
Yeah,
to each other
that
in
sounds
50
about
years,
right.
and they're the
Yep,
only ones who
yep.
could do it, you know. The recurring events for adults over at the library: Tech Tuesdays, Genealogy Club, Cool City Writers,
Oh, and don't forget about the chess club, too.
and Chess Club.
Yeah, that's
Are
right.
you going to go?
I would love to. Monday nights are just a tough time for me.
Yeah.
But Monday nights, I think 6 o'clock, they run that.
Sure.
Yeah, so, you know, practice your Queen's Gambit openings, my friends.
Go to the doobly-doo. There's a link.
Right. Teen programs. We got some things going on. Some recurring events there would be book nerds for middle schoolers.
Right.
Book nerds for high schoolers. And teen late night.
Correct.
Yep.
And there's not so much on their calendar right now because school is out.
Of course.
So,
Right.
but they are making sure that they do have events for these kids.
Yeah, I think there's a summer reading program that's kicking
Probably.
off. Yeah.
Probably. For the youth programs, Tom Pease. Infectious fun out on the library lawn. Acclaimed children's performer Tom Pease entertains with music, song, movement, lots of audience participation, and general hilarity. LPL guarantees smiles and laughter. If it rains, they'll just move it indoors.
That is so great. I every time I walk by that little side area, the lawn with the stones and everything on it, I keep thinking like, oh, I should do more events out there. So it's
Yeah.
nice to hear that they're taking advantage of that.
Oh, they
space.
do. Yeah. And the recurring events for the little guys are story time, jumpstart, and baby garden.
Very nice. Very nice. There's also quite a lot going at the senior center going on, including a pancake breakfast on Saturday, June the 29th, starting at 7:30 a.m. until about 10:30 a.m. So this is going to be in conjunction with the car show. It's going to be at the Two Rivers Community House in the Behringer Room, and $3 carry out for 3 pancakes and 2 sausages, or if you're hungry, $5 all you can eat pancakes. Including 2 link sausages.
Right.
Beverages are also available for purchase, but go and get your fill. It sounds like it's going to be a wonderful, fun time to meet with your friends and
Oh, yeah.
and stuff your face with pancakes.
Right. Well, pancakes are huge around here.
It's true. It's true. And then, of course, the Senior Center also has a number of recurring events. Wii Bowling, Simply Seniors Exercise, Mahjong, Dominoes, and Bingo.
To name just
Yeah,
a
there's
few.
just a plethora of
A
things
plethora.
available.
Exactly. And Two Rivers Parks and Rec, Two Rivers Students Open Gym. Now through the end of December, visit their Facebook, Parks and Rec's Facebook, for various dates and times. The location is going to be at the J.E. Hamilton Community House. Two Rivers Public School District students is who this is open to. What? No school today?
Bored?
Don't sit at home.
Come out to the Community House Gymnasium and spend some time shooting hoops and hanging out with your friends.
Yes. And one thing I wanted to say about this is, as I was looking at their calendar and upcoming events, they're offering quite a bit for our young people in the area.
They are.
For things for them to do this summer. So I think that that is really a growing trend, you know, because it's real easy to get bored in the summertime.
And I think there's a real hunger for that. I mean, one of the things, you know, we're going to be talking to Jeff Sachse about the Lakeshore competition with the high school students. And one of the things that came out in that group of students, you know, what they presented, one of the common themes was there's just not enough to do for young people around town. Well, that's getting answered. And I think that there's going to be more as it goes on. So I love to see stuff like this.
Oh, I do too. And then there's an event, a recurring event called Pound, which is going to go on through December 17th. So these are our far-reaching events.
Okay.
You know, it's not just onesie twosie. It's you know, for the duration. And there's like, I think on the open gym, I think there was like 26 or 28 days.
Oh yeah.
That are planned.
Great.
For Pound, which I'll explain in just a second, I think there's about 24 or 26.
Okay.
You know, dates and times that are out there.
It's a lot. Yeah.
But anyway, Pound is going to be at the J.E. Hamilton Community House. And what that is instead of listening to music, you become the music in this. I love how they talk about these workouts. It's exhilarating. An exhilarating full body workout. I don't get exhilarated by exercise. I'm sorry. That combines cardio conditioning and strength training with yoga and Pilates-inspired movements, using ripped sticks, lightly weighted drumsticks, engineered specifically for exercising. Pound transforms drumming into an incredibly effective way of working out, designed for all fitness levels. And yes, there is a difference between this and cardio drumming.
I was just going to ask that. It's like you're in my head.
Different.
Yeah, okay.
So maybe I'll check it out.
All right. Well, we also have just a couple more items to share with you guys before we move to the Main Street Minute. One of them is the Bands on the Beach event featuring local bands, Cozy Danger, Beer Club, and Bang Bang and Gang. Gang. I was going to say Bang Bang and Gang. It was Bang Bang.
That would have been cool.
Yeah. Anyways, this is going to be held on Saturday, June the 22nd, from 4 until 10 p.m. At the Nashotah Beach Rotary Pavilion. The first concert of the summer, Bands on the Beach concert series. So you should come out and help kick off the summer music season with a night of rock and roll. In the event of poor weather, the Parks and Rec will move the event inside to the J.E. Hamilton Community House, but let's hope that doesn't happen.
Right.
Because it's going to be a cool venue, great night, be out on the beach under the stars.
Absolutely.
Listen to some rock and roll with your significant other. Yep.
We need that. It was a brutal winter. Spring has somewhat sucked, and so we need some good weather and some outdoor activities and just revitalize ourselves.
Here. Well said.
Thank you.
And then one other event, the Bike Rodeo and Kids Night. Mm-hmm. So this is going to be Tuesday, June the 25th, from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. at Washington Park on Adams Street. This is a bike safety check. They'll provide rules of bike riding, a skill course and games, free hot dogs to all participants, and prizes and a chance to win a new bike.
Right.
Yeah.
Which I think is pretty nice.
Yeah.
So that's it for the community calendar. And up next is going to be Mr. Roger Russo with the Main Street Minute. So please stay tuned.
Welcome, everybody. We're here for yet another Main Street Minute with Director of Two Rivers Main Street, Mr. Roger Russo. Welcome.
Thanks. Thanks for having me back again. I enjoy doing this.
We're into the spring and summer months here. Those few wonderful weathery months. Weeks of goodness.
Yeah.
I'm counting in weeks. Yeah.
No, be positive.
Savor every minute.
At least a month.
All right. At least a month. 2 thumbs up.
There you go.
This is a really busy season for you. You've got a lot of things coming up and going on.
Absolutely. The next major event we've got coming up will be the 28th and 29th of June. That's really the biggest downtown event in Two Rivers every year. The Cool City Classic Car Show and Cruise. On Friday night, the cruise actually leaves UW Manitowoc at 6 o'clock, makes its way along Memorial Drive through downtown Manitowoc, if you're looking for a place to see it, and ends up in downtown Two Rivers. Last year, we estimated, of course, because it's hard to count. I can't count this high anyways. About 840 cars participated in the cruise last year.
I remember it from last year. I live right along Memorial Drive there. So,
Mhm.
you know, if anybody wants to rent some space in front of our house, I can set you up with
Do
that.
I get a friend's discount?
Okay.
That didn't sound real positive.
I know.
Maybe he'll charge you double.
Of course,
Yeah.
for you, my friend. Yes, of course. I'm here for you. No, it's a lot of fun. A lot of really interesting cars pass up along the drive there, and just people sit out, in lawn chairs along the way,
And that's one of the things that makes it neat. I've said now for a while that one of the things I'm looking forward to when I retire from this job is putting a lawn chair along Memorial Drive and a cooler of beer next to me and watching the cruise,
Right.
because I never had the opportunity to do that.
because you're always so busy with everything
Yes,
else, right?
yep, yep. Even before I started in this job, I always volunteered for the car show. So I was always either at the UW helping set up, or I was downtown helping set up. So I've never had the chance to sit along the road and just watch the cars go by. And I'm looking forward to that. It's a few years off,
Right.
of course, but that's something I'm looking forward
We'll let you know when you can go.
to.
So
It won't be for a while.
now, if people have been to the show in other years, like what can they look forward to this year that might be a little bit different or interesting?
Well, one of the things that we're doing a little differently to manage parking when the cars get here to Two Rivers. We've experimented with a few different things. Last year, we created an area of VIP parking where people could pay $25 and park in the block between the two parks. Created a lot of parking issues for the rest of the cars. So what we're doing this year is for a minimum $5 donation. Somebody can buy a red hang tag that they can put on the mirror of their car. We're going to sell 325 of those. Those 325 people will be guaranteed parking places in the closed off area on Washington Street. If somebody doesn't buy one, they will end up, when the cars come into the festival area, they'll end up getting diverted and having to find somewhere else to park.
Oh, okay.
That's fair, sure.
I think so, and from people that I've talked to that have participated in the past, they think the $5 is very fair. But it's just a way to manage that. And at the UW, then, we are going to place the people that pay that $5 in a separate area, and theoretically get them out first. So all of the cars that paid will be the first ones to go through the cruise and end up downtown.
Okay, great. So as far as the event itself, like parking is going to be friendlier, it sounds like.
Yes.
What else is going to be different?
Well, we have a band, of course, on Friday night that'll play from 5:30 to 8:45. The band is Conscious Pilot, a very popular local band, very, very musically talented band from the area. We'll have a beer stand on Friday night as well as Saturday. We will have 7 or 8 food trucks downtown on Friday night, so don't eat before you come downtown.
Right.
Everything from, of course, the standard burgers and brats that you have to have at a festival around here. We will have Greek, we'll have Mexican, we'll have A&W, we'll have barbecue, we'll have a wide variety of things. Asian food, we'll have a wide variety of things for people to choose from. And I last year was the first year we did that, and it was very well received. And it also made life easier for us because we don't need to find as many volunteers for the event.
Right.
However, we are looking for volunteers for the event. If somebody is interested in volunteering, they can go to our website at tworiversmainstreet.com, and there's a link there to a sign-up page if they could sign up to volunteer if they want to. We would appreciate it greatly, and they'll get a really cool t-shirt.
Very nice. Yeah.
Well, I know I volunteered for you in the past, and I really enjoy it. And, well, I've been in the cruise with I have a 1960 VW, and I did that 3 years, I think. And it's really funny because my husband likes to sit in the passenger seat, and he likes to toot my horn.
Yeah.
And by the time we finally get into Two Rivers, my horn's going, and I think it's just like overheated. But last year I was having some difficulties with the car, so instead I was out directing traffic as the cars were coming down Washington.
Yep.
And that was fun too. I almost got run into one time only, and I thought that was I can deal with that.
That's not too bad.
That was not too bad.
Not too bad.
But it was a lot of fun, and that was a great way for me to see everything, because when you're in the cruise, you don't see the other cars unless you get down to UW Manitowoc early enough to wander around. So, and now on that Friday evening, at the end of the festivities, what time do all these cars have to be off the road?
We angle park the cars on the road, but the road has to open at 9 o'clock.
9 o'clock.
So everybody's car has to be legally parked on Washington Street by 9 o'clock when the road opens. And we're getting better at that. We hand everybody a slip when they come into the barricaded area that reminds them of that. We have the band make announcements. And every year there's a couple, and we chase owners down. We go into the bars and holler and say, if you got a car parked on Washington Street, please park it legally. And we are getting better at it.
Right.
You know, every year we get a little better at it. And it's important though, because of course we have to get permission from the DOT to close the road because it's a state highway. And if we violate our times, it gives them ammunition not to give us permission to close the road. So.
Well, it seemed like it went fairly smooth last year.
It did. There were just a couple of people
that
weren't as friendly as they could have been. Let's just put it that way.
Well,
That's very diplomatically put.
What can I say?
he has that talent.
Yes.
And then for Saturday?
Well, Saturday is the judged portion of the show. Registration starts at 7 a.m. At the intersection of 18th and Washington Street. It costs $10 to register a car into the show. And we're doing something different this year. Is we're going to be what's called a self-judge show. We've always had a group of judges go out and judge cars. We're going to self-judge this year. So we'll take a class of cars and they will be assigned to judge another class of cars. So when they go up to registration, they'll be handed a slip, and it'll be pretty simple. They'll just pick the car number that they think is first, second, and third in that class. We'll total points, and we'll hand out trophies based on that. There's a number of car shows of varying sizes. The Manitowoc Kiwanis Car Show has done this for years. There's a show probably 2.5 times the size of ours in Oshkosh that has been doing this for a long time too.
Okay.
And again, one of the biggest challenges we've had with the show is finding judges. So this kind of takes that pressure away from us. Yeah. We'll have a group of people that'll kind of be standby judges, I guess you could say. So if a particular class doesn't have enough cars in it to judge another class or something like that, we'll send some of the standby judges out to judge that class of cars. Okay. So we have enough opinions to be fair about it.
I think that's a great idea, because it also adds another layer of fun, actually, for the people who have cars in the show. It gives them something extra to do and to actually participate a little bit closer. I like that.
It's going to be interesting to see how it goes, and like anything else, I'm sure some people will like it, some people won't.
Yeah.
But for the most part, car shows that do this find that exact thing, that people enjoy the participation.
They're more engaged.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yep. That way.
Yep.
Wow.
And then at 4 o'clock, when the car show ends, we typically start giving out trophies between 2 and 2:30. That'll be done between 3:15 and 3:45 or so, and then at 4 o'clock we have Dr. Bombay starting down at the Rotary Pavilion at Shota Beach. So we're going to encourage all of the people when they leave the show with their cars to, at the very least, drive down to the beach and make a pass through there so the people at the beach can see their cars. And so we'll have the band down there until 7:30. We will have a couple of the food trucks from the show that day set up down there so people can buy food. We'll have a beer stand down there so people can buy beer. So it'll be a great kind of finish to the day and a way to extend the day too.
I think that's fantastic. Now, are you going to have Miss Wisconsin here this
year? Miss Wisconsin is not going to be here this year. And it was a communication issue with her booking office, I guess is the best way to put it in. And I had worked with the same guy I've worked with for years, and he now has an assistant in the office. And while I was working with him, it's hard for them to book her because she doesn't get chosen until a week before the car show.
Oh.
And there was, between he and the person in the office, there was a communication glitch, and he was, I guess you could say, in his head saving the date for us, and she scheduled her for something else.
Oh, okay.
So we lost out on that one, but we'll make sure we get her back next year.
Okay, so who's going to be giving out the trophies then?
Me.
We'll have to wake you up from your nap.
Unless you'd like to volunteer for that, Darla. Yeah, I usually look pretty awful by that point.
So do I.
Yeah, because last year I was downtown at 4 a.m. setting up.
Right.
So. Oh, wow.
If you need me in a pinch, I can help you.
All right, you will.
Okay.
I'll need you, Darla. I
All right.
always need
I'll be there for you,
All
Roger.
right, all right.
So beyond the car show, now what's coming up after that?
Well, the next event we have after that is the Brew Dash, which will be the 5th year, if I remember correctly. No, 6th year, excuse me.
Okay.
And what this is, it's on July 27th this year, on Saturday, July 27th. It's a 5K run walk that leaves Central Park in front of City Hall at 9 a.m. The thing most people like about it, besides the fact that you get to sample beer at the end, is the Rawley. Because we go across the 17th Street Bridge, and then it goes out and it goes through Neshota Park along the beach,
nice.
and then comes back through just west of the park and comes back over the 17th Street Bridge and ends again downtown.
Great.
The biggest thing we've gotten compliments of, people love going out, that stretch where they're running the path right along the beach there. Even if it's a really hot day at 9, 10 in the morning when people, or faster when people get over there, the temperature's not too bad. There's usually a breeze,
Right.
so it's a comfortable route, and they just love the experience of being along the beach.
This
and
is
how pretty
gorgeous
it
along
is.
there, so,
Yes,
yeah,
it is.
yeah.
It is, and
I
we'll
should
have,
walk that. I am not a runner. I would walk it.
I've walked that.
I'll
You
have to
should
keep
walk
that
it.
in
It's
mind.
fun.
We could film it.
And then we'll have
Put it fast forward.
We'll have beer to sample from a half a dozen breweries. I know Noble Roots is
Okay.
going to be here this year. Club Knuckle's going to be back. Sabbatical Brewing will be here. The Manti Malters Homebrewing Club contacted me, and they want to offer samples there this year. And they do this
Nice.
to encourage membership and participation and
Yeah,
things
of
like that.
course.
So
Okay.
we'll have a lot of different stuff there for people to try. Brian's Smokehouse will be here with food. And that lasts then until noon is when we close down. About noon is when we close down the sample.
Okay.
It's a fun event. It's a fun event to manage too. The Medicine Shop is a sponsor again this year. They have
Okay.
been for a few years, Marv is heavily involved in it, the owner of the Medicine Shop, and we've got a great group of volunteers. That's one of those events that we have a core of about 8 people that are there in the morning and pretty much manage the whole thing. And so it's because everybody's been in their roles for a long time. It's one of the easier events for me to manage personally, which I'm good with.
Okay. Yeah.
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 And it always goes very smoothly. Participation is good. We had 162 runners last year, if I
Really?
remember correctly,
Nice crowd.
which is a good quantity. Yes,
Yeah,
it is.
yeah.
Yes, it is. And it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. People enjoy it.
Oh, so great. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Summer full of good times.
Yep. Well, and something else I should mention that's kind of an all-summer thing. We've talked in past shows about the Art in Central Park project, and if you're not aware yet, the banners are now on display in the east half of Central Park. Our website, again at tworiversmainstreet.com, has a page specifically for Art in Central Park where you can go and learn a little bit about the artists that did each
Right.
one of the paintings. So you can learn a little more about them and maybe find out where their work is available, things like that. Take a walk through the park and look.
I think it turned out really good because I went over there not too long after the banners were put up, and I was really happy with the results. And we've already mentioned it that we're going to have a segment today with the photos of all of the finalists' completed works and kind of a stroll through Central Park just so people can kind of get an idea as to how that is. So, but that was really successful.
It was, and I have to mention again, thank you again, Darla, for Basil Ishkabibble sponsorship.
You bet.
And if I may jump back real quick and thank quickly our title sponsor of the car show this year, which is Fatso Southern Pizza Shop.
Oh,
in
yeah.
Rivers. She's been a great supporter of the event, not only
Jesse.
as Jesse is her,
Right.
yes, not only as a sponsor but as a volunteer. She is one of those people that really jumps in with both feet when she gets involved in something, and she's been a big asset to the car show, and she's been an asset. She's now on the board of directors of Main Street, of course, and has been an asset there too.
Oh, absolutely.
Wonderful.
And just one thing I wanted to quickly mention, and by the time that this airs, it will already be done, but that is the ice cream week.
Every day is Sunday week.
Every day is Sunday week.
Yes.
And the reason I'm bringing it up is that because the next time we see you, we're going to do a recap
Oh, okay.
of how that went, and
Okay.
you know, some of the events that
Yep.
you had, and it's going to be a good time. It's just coming up so quickly, but yes,
Yeah.
be prepared, and
All right.
I'll need pictures. so that we
Okay.
could do a little montage too.
Okay. I'll do my best.
And I know, so kudos, I don't know how the arrangement happened, but at the TRBA meeting this week, Kevin had mentioned how a lot of people just stepped up and helped support the ice cream because Kemp's couldn't support.
For Sunday, Thursday, yeah.
For Sunday,
Yep,
Thursday,
yep.
for the little coins and 25 cents to get some ice cream.
Yep.
Kemp's had done it for many years. Now, sadly, for whatever reasons, they're not able to or willing to do it.
Yep.
So it was great that the public stepped up and provided some help for that. So kudos to all of you who provided support to continue this great tradition, in the city, and really glad to see that happening.
Yes. And one more thing I'll mention, and obviously this will probably be passed by then. Edgar Berners, who is the great nephew of
Okay.
the
That's right.
man who ran the ice cream parlor and invented the ice cream sundae,
Yeah. So
will be in attendance.
the
next week.
descendant of the founder.
Yes.
Right. Yes.
Yes. Which I think is really cool.
Okay, we need to get footage of him.
I'll work on that.
Okay.
Yep. He's going to be. I believe he'll be here Friday night, Saturday, and also Sunday at the Washington House.
Fantastic.
He's so neat to talk to him. Yeah.
It would.
Yeah.
And I'm sure he's probably getting up there in years. Is he?
I don't know his age for sure, but based on email conversations, I'm going to guess he's 89 or 90.
Wow. Yeah.
See, and that's the beauty of this is that we've had guests on who are elderly and really talented people or very interesting people, and it's kind of like the way I look at what we're doing too is kind of a time capsule. So if we have an opportunity to maybe talk to him or to get the footage, that's going to be great for down the road too.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
And by the time this is out, in case you're not aware, another new business should be open in Two Rivers. Screamin' Conuts.
Yeah. All right. I saw the pink building down the street. It looks great.
The building looks great. In fact, I was inside there on Tuesday night. I
Oh.
drove past it on my way home, and Emily Ristikin's car was there, so I stopped and got to see the inside. A couple more things they had to do inside. The outside was pretty much ready.
Right.
So, like I said, a week and a half or so from when we record this, or by the time this is available to the public, she should be open.
I am
That's
really
so cool.
excited about
Yes.
that because with her and then walk across the bridge if you're still capable
Yes.
and eat chocolate
I'm
at Renee's.
going to gain weight just walking by.
I know.
Well, it's pretty convenient walking distance.
It is, yeah.
Too, Todd.
Yeah.
So
I could probably crawl it if I,
you're the person that's going to need to ask if they have a frequent buyer card.
Yeah, I get a punch card, please. Yes. 10 punches and I get a free.
Yeah, mine of those is from Casa Mexico. So.
Yeah.
She should also have one of those big, like, I bet you can't kind of, huge ones. Like if you finish it, you get like
Oh yeah.
free ones.
The cones are kind of preset sizes.
Oh, okay.
And I did get to see the machine that makes those.
Really?
It's pretty cool.
Really?
It really is. It's nothing like what I expected it would be. Yeah, it has almost like a rotisserie type thing with a wood cone shaped thing on the end. And she takes the batter and you wrap it around the cone.
Yeah.
And then it goes in this machine.
Okay.
It'll hold either 8 or 10, I don't remember which, that has a vertical heating element in the middle, and you turn it on and these things spin and it bakes the cones.
Really?
Yes.
I must see this.
Yes. and she also has some cylinders instead of cones. So you do the same thing. You wrap the dough, the batter around the cylinder, and you bake it, and then she'll cut those in half, and that will be like a sundae boat then.
That's
That
cool.
she makes a
Oh,
sundae.
fun.
It's really neat. It's really neat.
Well,
Place is as gorgeous inside as it looks on the outside too.
I
So,
can't wait.
yeah.
Cool.
She's got a really, really good idea, and it's so unique, and it's like
Yes.
I want to try it so badly.
Yes.
I'm just trying to decide, do I do Renee's chocolates first and then Screaming Conuts, or do I do the Screaming Conuts and then the chocolate? I'm gonna have to try both ways.
Well,
And
yeah.
then you'll get back to it.
Yeah. I can't make up my mind this quickly. Stop pressuring me about this.
Well, I think it really depends on what you're going to eat from Renee's, because you could go there and get some chocolate covered candied bacon for breakfast, and then go to Screamin' Conuts for some ice cream for dessert
Yeah.
after breakfast.
Yeah,
Do people eat dessert after breakfast?
I do.
Oh, okay.
As of now, I do. Two Rivers, we live well. All right. Roger, anything else?
No, I think that's plenty for today.
Okay, well, as always, thank you. Thank you for spending some time with us, telling us what's going on, and giving us a little bit of the inside scoop. Get it?
It's so funny, I forgot to laugh.
We can edit that out.
No, we can't.
All right.
It's funny.
All right. Well, stay tuned. We'll be right back. You want to welcome everybody back?
Let's welcome everybody back.
Welcome back, everybody.
Hello.
Hello. Hi.
Hi. Would you like to introduce our guest?
I'd be delighted to introduce our guest. We're really happy to have back with us Mr. Jeff Sachse, who is the owner and president of Rawley Point Economic Consulting. Did I get that right?
Close enough.
Advising.
Better that you got the last name correct than the actual business name.
Okay, well, there you go. Anyways, we're really glad to have him back. Jeff does an awful lot for the community, more than I could possibly summarize. Economic development, architectural weekends, a lot of really neat things. And he's here to talk to us a little bit today about two of those events that are coming up. One is the Snowfest event.
Yep.
And then we'll also talk a little bit about the Up The Lakeshore competition. So in no particular order, what do you feel like talking about first?
Well, I suppose we should talk about the event that happened before we talk about the event that will happen.
That makes sense.
So on May 14th, we held an event at the Green Bay Manitowoc campus, and I will eventually get used to saying that, theater, where we had 8 students from 2 different high schools in Manitowoc County, Manitowoc, Rawley, and Two Rivers, present their best business ideas. And through the course of that evening, we were privileged enough to award $7,000 in scholarship funds to the participants.
This wasn't small potatoes.
It was not.
$7,000, right?
It was interesting because we opened the competition up in February to all of the high schools in Manitowoc County. And we ended up getting initially entrants from 3 of those schools. And because of the timing of the event, May is just a nightmare for any high school student. We ended up with the 8 students that we had. And they taught us a lot of lessons about just how talented and imaginative these students are, as well as really the talent that we have and the potential that we have in those students in bringing businesses forward throughout the region. So just to give you a little sense of the winners, our third place team, and it was interesting because all 3 winners were from Rawley. And I know that, if we were talking about Manitowoc Rawley when I was in high school, it would be, pretty much a curse word in Two Rivers if you weren't privileged enough to attend there. But the thing that I was struck by with the Rawley students, as well as with the Two Rivers students, is just how poised they were and how they were able to actually connect their ideas back to a personal narrative. So, for example, our winner was a junior at Rawley by the name of Elizabeth Hoffman. And she presented what was a relatively simple idea for a product called the bandwagon hat. In essence, what the hat is a plain baseball hat with some kind of hidden attachment mechanism on the front placket, where organizations could produce embroidered patches that could then be attached to the hat. And our motivation for this came from the fact that growing up, both her and her siblings had multiple sports teams that they played for, and their parents had to collect a lot of apparel in supporting their friends. And this combined with seeing Tidying Up with Marie Kondo on Netflix over winter break gave her the inspiration for a more minimalist idea. But that in and of itself is a relatively elegant solution to a simple common problem. But again, something that we could easily see becoming a mainstay, throughout organizations in the county. The second place winner was a freshman from Rawley. So think of where you were at age 14 or 15 and what you were thinking about, by the name of Ryan Jacoby, and he came up with this ride-sharing service called Ping. And what Ping is essentially Manitowoc County's version of an Uber or a Lyft, but it's designed for a specific purpose. And that is to provide safe alternatives for individuals that may have enjoyed too much at the bar or tavern to get home. So it's the idea of linking those responsible drivers, mostly high school and young college students, with those that could benefit from the service. And what motivated Ryan was the fact that he had a family member that was involved in a fairly serious drunk driving accident. So again, it's out of the personal experience comes really interesting ideas. And the third place winner was actually a team of students. Because again, that was one of the more interesting things that also came about as a consequence of this event is we had a few students that in reviewing their initial ideas came to find common ground with another student and actually collaborated on a bigger pitch. So Alexis Valecki and Anthony Brady from Roncalli paired to pitch an idea for a company they're calling Manitowoc's Open Water, which would basically be, again, your typical lakefront equipment rental place where you could get kayaks and paddleboards and so on and so forth. The thing that they were, again, struck by is the fact that as teenagers, they had no place where they could rent outdoor equipment, either without their parents' consent or simply find it at all. And so we had actually 3 ideas from students for outdoor destinations or outdoor attractions, which again speaks to the knowledge and awareness that those students have of the things that they'd like to do and the passion that they would bring to actually bring them to the community. Mm-hmm. So again, what's really interesting about this competition is that of the 7 competitors that presented, and I wanted to thank you again, Todd, for serving as one of our judges.
Right.
I was going to say something about the brilliant and insightful judging that happened, but no, it was a pleasure to do it, and really enjoyed hearing from all the students. Like you said, they had great ideas, and they thought through what they wanted to pitch.
So out of the 7 students that pitched, only one group, I believe only one group is actually graduating. Mm-hmm. So we have, again, this critical mass of students that we are now working to connect to business owners throughout the community to help advance those ideas. Because again, they will be with us for at least another year to help cultivate that those ideas. And I'm actually working with Ryan Koth, who is a lecturer in entrepreneurship at UW Green Bay and also a big advocate for the Lakeshore, and April Kroner from the city of Manitowoc, to develop a different category of judging for next year's competition, where those first-time competitors this year will be able to present how far they've advanced their business for evaluation rather than a fresh idea. And again, you don't really realize the impact that these types of competitions can have on students until you see how much their faces light up after being on that stage, getting the feedback and quite frankly, getting a check that they never expected to receive for ultimately what could have been 3 minutes of work.
It's an amazing growth experience, really. I mean, to just have that opportunity to get up on a stage, which is intimidating, to get in front of a group of people evaluating your ideas, or at least offering input on them, and just kind of having to think about that enough and practice it enough to get up there and have the polish and the chutzpah to do it. It's really admirable, and I didn't dismiss that. For anybody up on that stage, I was hugely respectful of what they were doing.
They were kind of entering the real world at that point.
Yeah,
and
that's
I know that's got to have been so overwhelming. And Bill and I, my husband and I, came to the Light Up the Lakeshore, and we really enjoyed listening to the pitches. And what was really funny is that the first place winner, we didn't realize it when she was up there speaking, but we knew her really well. It's just she doesn't wear diapers anymore. It had been that long since we had seen her.
Wow. Yep. Yeah.
And and I know she was.
Isn't Elizabeth one of Bill's cousins, or? related somehow.
Yeah. And but the thing is, you lose touch with different people, and my goodness, all of a sudden that little baby is now a young lady who just won first place, and I thought she was going to applause. I really did. She was so stunned.
She's very sweet.
And she was so happy, and the thing is that she made a commitment. She understood this was a good opportunity. She saw it through. She got up on stage in front of all these people, which is very difficult. And this was probably her first time out of the gate doing something of this magnitude or this caliber. So
well, and it was really interesting to see just the amount of support that all the students received from their peers at the event, but also afterwards, because, for example, I had the pleasure of stopping by Rawley at their second to last all-student convocation. So basically the Monday of the final week of classes, to present the prize checks to all the winners. And seeing the students walk up in front of their peers to the front of the theater at Rawley and just getting the loudest applause.
Really?
And people cheering for them.
awesome.
That's really cool.
It was really great, because when I walked out of the auditorium with the school president, he thanked me for bringing to light the students that they may overlook just because of the fact that they aren't necessarily the most, the biggest shining stars, either athletically or in some other aspect.
Right.
So, again, there's lights in everyone, and we're just trying to bring them all out.
That's right.
That's beautiful, man.
Yeah.
I really like that.
Who were the other two judges?
The other two judges were Teresa Cronfirst from Traders, Red Bank, and Whitecap Insurance Agency, among other places, and April Kroner from the city of Manitowoc. And April's interesting in that she's just recently, as of last fall, been named Economic Development Director, but has previous experience in a number of communities, most recently in Ashland. And her feedback to me after the event is she wished that someone would have done something like that for them there. And Teresa was very nervous about the whole experience. She had never done something of that nature. And was pretty emotional about just the opportunity.
Okay.
And I don't think that, again, that the work that she and Nate do, and Teresa and AJ do at Traders, and all of the businesses that they've actually brought to life here, I don't think they view themselves as entrepreneurs. And they very much are. And so perhaps, that experience brought, again, a different side of the contributions that they make to the fore.
Now, your first place winner, what grade is she in?
She's a junior.
Okay.
So she will be back next year.
I hope so, because I would love to, her idea was one of those where Bill and I looked at each other and were like, why didn't we think of that? I mean, it was such a good idea and pretty simple. And I'd love to see how she progresses, in her endeavors, because it's a fantastic idea.
Well, it's interesting because we've had several conversations, and I don't want to give away too much, just because it's not my idea. But there've been some discussions amongst us, along with some of the school administration at Rawley, about the possibility. So every year, Rawley offers the opportunity for their senior business students to actually run a business, as what they call their senior project. And they are considering using the bandwagon hat as the basis for their senior project this year.
That would be fantastic.
Because again, they have both a number of charitable causes in which the students actually actively participate in throughout the year.
Right.
It'd be a great venue to try and build awareness for those things.
And very helpful for her. I mean, and I did want to mention too that Jason Prigge did put up on Coolest Coast a really nice video of that evening. So if you have an opportunity, go on to Coolest Coast and take a look at it, and you can see the finalists and hear a little bit more about what their ideas were. So I thought that was very cool that he did that.
You did a great job.
Oh yeah.
Well, and so another business idea, just again to bring this back to Two Rivers, of course, because we're on Two Rivers Talks, is a kid by the name of Kirby Hubbard. who was brave enough to call in on the Friday before the competition at 8:30 in the morning to the Breakfast Club on WCUB. Now, this is a kid that had never been on radio. He'd moved around his entire life and he finally settled, in Two Rivers for his junior and senior year because of parents' work situation. And he came to love this sport of airsoft, which is basically paintball without the mess. While in his last school in Alabama. Again, in sharing that idea and sharing that story, inspired us to actually connect Kirby with a couple of business owners in the community. And we're pretty confident that he'll be hosting a series of airsoft events this fall.
Nice.
Far
nice.
out.
That would be really cool.
Because that sounded like fun. I used to do paintball, which was painful.
Yeah.
But no, I really liked his ideas, and I was stationed down in Alabama,
Sure.
and I know kind of the mindset down there, and I could really relate to this kid.
Yep.
And that would be fantastic.
Yeah. So, again.
What about the dancers? There was.
Yeah.
Yeah. So one of the foreign exchange students, I'm not sure what program he came through. Imran Kali was a young, I can't remember whether he was a sophomore or a junior, from the Czech Republic named Pavel Šebek, who came up with an idea for a ballroom dance school because of the fact that in the Czech Republic, every student is offered the opportunity to basically go through finishing classes as part of their school curriculum. And he thought, it would be a great socializing opportunity and a way for students to meet other students, from other schools or even within their own school. And what was interesting is that he was one of the students that actively collaborated with another, because Clara Dram, who's also a junior, will be a senior at Mount Holly, had the idea for developing an upscale all-ages dance club. So
two really related ideas.
Complementary activities,
Right.
because again, the thing that Clara couldn't figure out was what to do with the facility on the other days of the week when she's not hosting events. And Pavel was looking for places to host his classes. So it was an obvious synergy, which again, without those students having that shared experience and actually hearing what each other's idea was, they couldn't get to that point of collaboration. So that's one of the other things that we're looking to inspire in future events, is either within school or more ideally cross-school collaboration from students.
That would be really cool.
Because one of the other things that we heard was that another student, Debbie Polish from Two Rivers, had an idea for an outdoor outfitter type of activity. So what kind of collaboration could have been bred if she would have taken her idea and brought it to Alexis and Anthony as far as expanding the offerings.
Right.
So again, it's the fact that all of these students grow up through their childhood with a relatively shared experience, and the way they express that is different. But it's that shared experience that could then bring them together to create some really interesting things.
Well, yeah, the more of those students who bounce their ideas off of each other, the more likely it is they come up with something unique.
Exactly.
And really interesting.
Exactly. So I would be remiss if I didn't mention my sponsors. So Rawley Point Economic Advising is the lead sponsor on this event. And we had contributions from Investors Community Bank, Shoreline Hometown Credit Union, and the University of Wisconsin Green Bay, as well as Todd, from your firm Clock Tower Advisors in Coolest Coast, as well as C. Hafer Media, or chafernews.com. I can't remember what they're going by, because I received a relatively terse email from one of the sales reps. Feedback on the first version of the press release that I had referred to them incorrectly. Since the logo's on the back of the T-shirt, I'll mention both of them, and hopefully one of them's right. So we're actively planning for next year's event. We will be announcing entries. Entries will open mid-November with the host of hosting our 2020 Light Up The Lakeshore Student Business Idea Competition in February.
Great.
Okay.
Do you have any t-shirts left?
I do. Would you like one?
Well, what I'm wondering is, I don't know what kind of sizes you've got available, but you know, what we could say is the first person to make a comment.
Sizes run the
blog.
gamut from small to extra large.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, how about the first person to make a comment about one of the t-shirt on the blog gets one,
Sure.
and we'll find a way to get it to you. We'll just message you privately and
Absolutely.
figure out a way to get it pick up. Maybe pick it up here at the art studio.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And the thing just to mention about the logo is actually designed by another young freelancer, Emma Borfarush, who's in the Milwaukee area, but was most notable for her involvement with the Startup Accelerator Generator.
Oh, sure.
She did a number of graphic design projects for her.
Well, it's a beautiful logo. I think
Thanks.
it looks really great.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so just one of the things we're doing.
Yeah.
Now, just a one more question on Light Up the Lakeshore. Last year, it was college students who
Yep.
participated. It could have been adults. I
Yep.
mean, anyone who wanted to. This year or next year, perhaps, are you going to have not only a student competition, but maybe one that's open for us older people too?
We're actively thinking about different ways we can do adult competitions. We've had a request to do another event at the beach. And we're looking at a potentially an August timeframe for doing that.
So, for those of you who don't know, the first Light at the Lakeshore was on Neshota Beach.
It was on Neshota
Yeah.
Beach
Which
at
is
the
really
Rotary
cool.
Pavilion on
Yeah.
August 2nd, 2018. And we had 10 adults, so mostly college students and young entrepreneurs present. And we also did an open pitch where we had 12 members of the audience actually come up and share
Yeah.
their ideas.
Yeah.
One of the more inspirational one was the 8-year-old son of one of our judges, who sent me a very, very heartfelt voicemail the week following because his son could not stop talking about his board game idea.
Wow.
So he's got the bug early.
Nice.
So we've talked about the idea of doing another beach-based pitch contest, and we'll probably announce that still this month. Another thing that we've talked about is the idea of maybe taking Light Up the Lakeshore on the road a bit, and hosting just pop-up pitches in some of our
yeah.
more friendly drinking establishments.
Sure.
So it's this idea
They're all going to sound good.
of pints and pitches.
Oh,
That's
I
good.
love
That's
that.
Yeah. So lots more to come.
Fantastic.
Great.
And Snowfest.
Snowfest.
Yeah.
Snowfest is either a great word or a pejorative, depending on who you talk to in Two Rivers. So for those of you who are just watching Two Rivers talks and are not natives to the community, or may have recently come into the community, I'll give you a little bit of history on what Snowfest was. So Snowfest was an annual event hosted right around the 4th of July in Two Rivers, and it has been an event that's been hosted continuously from the late 1930s up until the mid 1990s. The last official Snowfest occurred in 1996. And there are a number of different folk tales that predate or presage the origins of Snowfest, but the tale that I grew up learning was that a city public works crew, while they were digging out the seeding bowl for Walsh Field on a July afternoon back in 1938, uncovered a pile of snow that had been buried through the spring thaw. And that prompted a citywide snowball fight, which then became the genesis for Snowfest. And Snowfest and its various iterations were supported by a number of fraternal and service organizations throughout the city, ranging from the American Legion, the JCs, the Kiwanis, the Lions Club. I think the Elks were involved in some point. It was an event that throughout its early phases went from organization to organization until the JCs really adopted it in the 1970s, and grew it into the event that most of us who grew up in a certain era remember it as, which was a 4-day weekend of music, carnival rides, and refreshments. Another landmark event of Snowfest was the annual Saturday Parade, which ran the length of Washington State and brought in thousands of people into downtown Two Rivers. The event tailed off for a number of reasons, not the least of which being the fact that the JCs, the main sponsor of Snowfest, was one of those odd fraternal organizations in that it had an age limit. So it was a men's only fraternal or service organization that is only open to those under the age of 35. Two Rivers being an older community, when it ran out of 35-year-olds, the JCs basically couldn't sustain itself. So there have been a number of attempts over the course of the last 20 years to do something related to Snowfest. One of the most vocal advocates most recently has been Bridget and David Van Ginkel of Two Rivers Clothing Company and Two Rivers Cannabis Company, amongst other ventures. So my brother Tony and I were first inspired by the idea of Snowfest by my father, who was at JC's himself in the early 1980s. And we have memories of going to the carnival, going to the parades, in high school marching to parades, and never being able to see the Saturday music acts because of the fact that we were not of legal drinking age. So I remember, my friends bemoaning the fact that they never got to really experience Snowfest. So I don't remember exactly when this happened last year, or rather last summer. But an individual posted a picture on Facebook of a Snowfest button from the 1960s. And it's a simple rondelle of a polar bear with an American flag in the back that says 1960 Snowfest, Two Rivers, Wisconsin, with the dates. I took that image, sent it over to Two Rivers Clothing Company, and had a series of t-shirts made. And I was just shocked by the reception and response that I had received from that one little t-shirt project, which again convinced me that there was something there. So we formed a little 501c3 called the Friends of Two Rivers Snowfest, and started planning for what eventually will become Snowfest 2020, which we presume will have all the trappings of a typical Snowfest event.
Would that include a parade?
It will include a parade.
And
So
snowballs.
DOT, you're gonna have to clear, I mean, there's lots of hoops that you have to jump
Yep.
through in order for this to occur.
Yes.
Okay.
And we're fully aware of the hoops, and we actually have an alternate parade route, which would go down Jefferson Street to the beach. That would avoid
Okay.
any DOT issues as far as highway closure for Washington Street. But we realized that in the short amount of time that we had in the run-up to this fall, or this summer rather, that we couldn't produce a full
Right.
event. We also knew that we didn't have the cash assets to do so. So we have produced a fundraising weekend, June 21st and 22nd. We're calling it the first annual Snowfest Weekend of Music, which begins on the 21st at the Community House from 5 till 10:30. With what we're calling the 2019 Snowfest Blast from the Past. We have Tim Strews, who's a well-known local DJ, and Shane Reno, who was also and still is a very well-known local DJ, doing a 1980s era radio set, where they will be taking requests and playing your favorite music from Snowfest.
Nice.
We will have all the attending fried foods and adult beverages, as well as a bunch of nostalgia from Snowfest.
Okay.
So we will have
wow.
old signage, and we will have photos and videos, and bringing people together to talk about their memories of what this was.
So are you looking for people in the community who have some of this memorabilia
Yep,
to get it to you and they can display it there?
absolutely.
Okay.
So, for example, we have Brandon Gothier, who's again a well-known furniture maker artist in the area, has a number of pieces, including a 12-foot rainbow and polar bear sign that used to adorn the entrance of the Nishoto Park grounds that he's lending us.
Really?
and a
That's cool.
host of other just again ephemera and other things. But really, the idea is that this is again the launch event for bringing Snowfest back into the community. We're also, again, as a fundraiser, going to be raffling off a number of baskets and other prizes that have been donated by area businesses, as well as a number of bigger promotional prizes that, again, our radio connections have been able to get. So things like concert festival tickets and sporting events tickets and autographed memorabilia, things of that nature, which we'll be announcing on the Friends of Two Rivers Snowfest Facebook page over the course of the next few weeks. And then the party continues on June 22nd on the Saturday, where we are partnering with Two Rivers Parks and Recreation to provide, again, beverages and food and beverages for I believe it's a 5 band set that they have booked at the Rotary Pavilion.
Wow.
So it's going to harken again back to this era of what Snowfest was, in anticipation of what Snowfest
I'm looking
is.
forward to that. You guys have worked very, very hard on this. Very hard. And I know you put a lot of hours into it and a lot of effort. And now, your dad was super involved.
Yep.
And I know that you brought something along to show everyone. And if you want to do that, and I'm just going to talk amongst yourselves and show the vest, because I'm going to go grab a button really quick.
Actually,
You got one, okay.
I'll give you the button. And then,
Okay.
So why don't you
I
share
thought I
the
was
button
going to
while
skedaddle.
Well, why don't you share the button while I grab the vest, or while I pull up the vest?
Okay.
So just to give you a little bit of sense of these buttons, and you can find them throughout town. If you want to purchase a button, please go to Basil Ishkabibbles, because again,
We have them here for
they do.
sale.
In the buttons themselves were designed by Dean Conop. The logo design was by Dean Conop.
It's so cute.
Who you can find in the men's department
Yeah.
at Schrader's Department Store, and he's happy to autograph apparel. The other thing to keep in mind, again, as far as Dean's connection to our weekend, is that he will be at the community house on Friday night, also drawing caricatures,
Okay.
which is something, again,
A lot of fun.
some of whose artwork you can find at Basil Ishkabibbles.
Right.
So again, like I said, my father was really one of the main motivators behind
Look at
Snowfest.
this. Wow.
And so this is, as you can see kind of here, the back of his vest from the JCs from the early 80s. And again, this is the front, and it's full of a number of enamel pins that I would love to see people produce again. And the button that you see on the lower left is actually from the 1963 Snow Festival. And there's an interesting story behind that button, because a friend of mine who's a realtor in town actually found one of the old Snowfest wooden signs that they had placed along Washington Street to advertise the event from 1963 in a basement in a house on the south side of town, and had gotten me in touch with the seller. So we've added that sign to the collection.
Wow.
And she also, so the seller also contacted me about a week later and said she had also found a button. So proud to have that. If you like that logo, there should be a t-shirt line coming sometime in the offing in the summer. We also do have a line of apparel and can koozies that we've produced for the 2019 event. We will have both short sleeve and long sleeve t-shirts, as well as hooded sweatshirts for sale on the 21st. The can koozies you can now get exclusively at RTM Bar in Two Rivers. And RTM is also the official after party site for Snowfest weekend.
Okay.
So after we wrap up at the community house on the beach, we will be going over to RTM, where we'll be doing karaoke competitions and
Okay.
Sounds like
Oh,
a perfect
wow.
day. I love it.
Yeah.
so
What do you think? We can do a set of Barry Manilow, Mandy.
Are you out of your mind?
Yes.
Well, actually, Todd, I was thinking more Captain and Tennille.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Captain and Tennille, maybe.
Love will keep us together.
Yeah, Muskrat Love. Please, somebody explain that song to me, because I'm still trying to figure it out.
Can't even go there.
Perhaps you could capitalize on Rocket Man.
Rocket Man.
Do some Elton John and
I could do it like with my William Shatner.
Yeah.
I was going to say, no, I got dibs on the William Shatner.
do a little "Don't Go Breaking My Heart."
Yeah. I'm all over that.
There's just
I will phaser you into a sniper.
there's a plethora of inspiration from 1970s era AM radio.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a busy summer.
It is, and Jeff, thank you for coming by to share all these great stories with us. We're looking forward to the Snowfest event, and for being involved with the future Light Up the Lakeshore events too. I think that you're doing, again, so much good for the community, and it's a lot of fun, and I think it's just good for the economy here as well. So we're looking forward to having you back and tell us more about how everything goes.
Always appreciate it.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jeff.
Thanks, Darla. Thanks, Todd.
And I think that's it for the show today.
No.
Ha! We'll be
Because
right back.
we will be right back with something else. Don't go away. What we're going to do now is we're going to show you art in Central Park. So what you'll be seeing next is footage of the park and the banners that are up, and then we will also be displaying individual pieces of the artwork so you can see it in detail more what the art is. And we're also going to overlay the artist's name so you know who to attribute the work to. So stay tuned, and you'll get some beautiful footage from our park over by City Hall.
What she said.
So if we're over by the monument, we'll sing.
So here we are in Central Park, Two Rivers Talks on site. We're very excited to be showing you art in Central Park because it's awesome and people did some really great work, and we're going to go around and point at it and make comments about how awesome it is. So join us. Come this way.
雨が飛び交う二馬車が市場へ子牛を乗せ